What do you do if your main contact at your client's company leaves? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at the Pearl Lemon Group. We're a business growth and development agency based in the UK, USA, as well as serving clients worldwide. And here today, in day number 77, we're here to talk about what you need to do if your main contact at a client's company just disappears, leaves, gets fired, or otherwise. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 7 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. And if you need any communication support, do reach out to us. So look, if your main contact at a client's company leaves, then there's several things that you would definitely benefit from doing. So the first off is that what typically happens when someone new comes in, they clean house. So what that means is if a person is leaving, it suggests a couple of things. So if your contact leaves, there could be a challenging environment within which that has caused them to leave, and that might be reflected in the difficulty of the actual relationship with your client. We've had main contacts leave several times, and we've been left with other members of the team who've come in, and it's been difficult and it's been fractious. And I'd say that over time and over the years, here's some of the things I think that you can do to ultimately minimize the risk of you getting booted or you leaving out the same door that your contact at the company's left. So you need to ingratiate yourself. You need to basically get to know the new people. So in getting to know the new people, and again, when I say get to know the new people, you need to ultimately repitch them all over again, okay? So when I say repitch them all over again, what I mean by that is new people come in because there's some level of contact that ultimately is replacing the contact that's left, and you need to get to know them, okay? And they, in terms of many factors, might be very, very different from your former contact. Your former contact might have been laid back, focused on the big picture, whereas your new contact might be very specific, might want to look at every single deliverable on the actual contract and compare it with what's been delivered and take a very analytical approach to the company or to the contract and engagement. For example, new contacts might be quite non-responsive, or they might be someone who just prefers, for example, phone calls and doesn't look at any of the emails that you send. So what you've got to appreciate is that you're inheriting a new person, a new personality who's, generally speaking, coming in to look at what's going on with this, for example, agency relationship, and looking at it from a due diligence perspective initially. Like, what are we paying for? What have we got? Who are the people? And what do I think about what are we paying for? What have we got? And who are the people? And what is the result? So these are the questions that kind of come in, especially, for example, if you put yourself into the client's position. Imagine that you've had one of your team underperform or your team suddenly leave, and there's a bit of disappointment, bad energy, or otherwise with that person leaving. It's not happy when someone who's important to your team leaves. Then you would review all of their work, and someone else would take it on. And as a course of getting to understand, well, what is this relationship and exactly what's going on, you run something of an audit over ultimately that person's work. And especially if that person left because you're unhappy with all of their work, you think that, well, maybe all of the decisions that your contact took were bad. All of the decisions that one of your team took were bad decisions anyway. So you will be under the microscope, and so appreciating the person will be different is important. And when that person has left, run your own review of the campaign in preparation for presenting it, and then get to new people. Let's add ASAP. So to kind of get ahead of the curve, I would say that these are absolutely the 4 areas that you would definitely need to be be mindful of that you want to get to know the new people or person as soon as possible. You're going to need to repitch them all over again. You need to recognize that that person will be different, and that therefore the style of dialogue, the style of communication, the style of reporting might need to change. Nothing might need to change, but usually it does. And therefore you want to run your own review of the campaign. So have a look at the campaign, have a look at what it's going, have a look at how it's going, cast an analytical eye over it, and try and be prepared. And well, not even prepared, run your own review of the campaign in preparation for presenting, and in advance of that, send detailed reports. So you might not want to send detailed reports over email. I think it's good practice too. You might want to speak to them first, but if you think about the psychology of it, wouldn't it be amazing if you, for example, have just fired one of your, so let's just say you've got a person called George. George has been fired, or George has announced he's leaving. George organizes a handover document, as well as, handover introductions, let's say. George introduces you to, the client, and as soon as George has, for example, announced to the agency that you have a relationship with, or George has a relationship with, that, I'm going to introduce you to the new contact. He's going to be the main person who's going to be overseeing the account, and this is in the instance that, it's a happy departure. Then you imagine receiving a detailed report from, for example, that agency relationship ahead of the handover call that you're having, saying, "Hey George, thank you for letting us know that you're moving on. Such a shame. Really, really love working with you, but maybe at some point our paths will cross in the future. Meanwhile, hey Deepak, wanted to introduce ourselves over email ahead of our meeting tomorrow, and thought it would be useful to prepare an overview of ultimately what we've been doing. So we kicked off on X date. This is what we've agreed to. Here's a copy of the contract. This is what we delivered so far. These are the results that have come in. And here's some, detailed autopsy of all of our work so far. This is where we're at with the campaign. This is what we had planned next with Richard, and looking forward to discussing all of the above with you, as well as any other questions you might have ahead of tomorrow's call. Really keen, as you can hopefully tell, to continue the relationship that we built with X company, and hopefully this covers off a lot of the questions that we know we would have if we were inheriting agency relationship and weren't, for example, weren't and wanted to know all of the particulars. Imagine receiving an email like that ahead of an agency call, and you'd be impressed. And so few people do something like that. A lot of people don't. You just kind of wait for the call and try and repitch them. But you want to send the detailed reports over email, and then you want to get to know the new people. Once you sent the detailed reports over email, you want to understand who the person is, number 3, by appreciating the person will be different, and repitch the person all over again, having already run your own review of the campaign in preparation for presenting. And that would then ultimately impact the email that you send over, and therefore the way that you present how the campaign's going so far, especially in those instances where it's not gone well and you need to ultimately justify your cost to that company. And in the end, you can do all of those things and it can work. It might not work. It still might not work. But if you do all of these things, it is, or you are giving yourself the best possible chance of making it work. So there you have it, guys. That's what to do if your main contact at a client's company leaves. And please do again, subscribe if you're getting value from these videos, and just comment in the description below with your takeaways. Thank you.